you do, but I bet you hear me even better now when the goddamn thing's turned on. So welcome in once again here, and a very happy, what the hell's today now? Thursday, I believe it is. Yes, Thursday it is here on the College Basketball Tip-Off Show. The madness has already begun, if you can't tell here. One game already underway in conference tournament play. We've got a loaded slate tonight, and of course, we got 3 games we're going to break down for you, and we're going to do it with Thursday's finest here as we welcome in Ralph Michaels, Steve Merrill, and Dave Kogan in the house here on this Thursday. Gentlemen, welcome in. Ralph, always a pleasure, my friend. We got some of those mid-major tournaments underway. We've got a whole lot of regular season finales coming up here. What do you got for us at WagerTalk.com tonight?
Well, 4 plays today, including 2 of my red-hot 4% best bets. But again, don't spend $25. Likely have a 5% tomorrow. There's a game I have circled. That $35 when a $1.77 gets me or any college basketball handicapper every college basketball play through the national championship. The price next Monday will be $177. The price on Selection Sunday will be $177. So why not get the rest of the regular season and these conference tournaments basically for free? WT.buzz/RM.
The answer is absolutely 0 reason. So, yes, we want to make sure that you guys get the best bang for your buck with these 3 guys. The opportunity presenting itself. Just ask Steve Merrill. Nobody does math like Steve Merrill. What is going on here, Merrill? I know you got a package in there somewhere today. What's going on?
I've got some math for you, Joe. As Ralph said, the 177 college basketball special is fantastic. And don't forget, I'm number 1 in college hoops the past 2 years combined, 64 units of profit. But what people might not realize, Joe Raineri, is over the last 10 months at Wager Talk, nobody has won more in the NBA. I'm up over 74 units in the NBA the last 10 months alone. And I bring that up because I do have a strong NBA best bet tonight. It's your TNT battle in Los Angeles on national TV, Lakers, Clippers. Get that right now. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com.
All right, and Dave, loaded card here tonight. A lot of NHL, a lot of college hoops going on. Nice winner last night. What do you got for us here tonight?
Yeah, it's funny how it goes because I just couldn't come up with much yesterday. I did like one game and got there with it. Barely, but I got there. And today I'm all over the place. I'm involved in 3 NHL games. 4 college basketball games, 2 of which are free plays, 1 of which I'll talk about here on the show. And good start to the day because Rory McIlroy shot 7 under in the first round at Arnold Palmer. I singled Rory this week as my only outright in the Palmer at 12-1. So encouraging opening day anyway.
He loves that Orlando course for sure, guys. All right, so we've got plenty to go over here, and we're going to start no better place than the Big Ten right now with a team playing some of its best basketballs. Iowa traveling to Michigan. Michigan opened up as a 1-point favorite. I've seen 2s, 1.5s, kind of teetering back and forth there. 156.5 is the opening number on this. And what about it, Ralph? Iowa maybe playing some of its best basketball right now. Do you trust them to go on the road and get it done?
Well, you have to trust them the way they're playing. I mean, as many offensive weapons as they have, game certainly means much more for Michigan off that Michigan State win. They pretty much can seal a bid. I think they're in anyway with a 10-8 Big Ten record, but, a lot of people still have them on the bubble. But I'm going to look at the total. Michigan playing their 4th game in 9 days. Iowa playing a lot of games, too, in that stretch. The difference is Iowa, a much deeper team, play 9 or 10 players where Michigan usually limits them to 7 players. So you have a team with that many offensive weapons like Iowa, with a team that is number 14 in terms of offensive tempo. I am absolutely going to try to run Michigan out of the gym. These 2 matched up on February 17th. Michigan wins that game 84-79. They got to 163 points, with the teams shooting a combined 8 of 38, 21% from three-point land. both of those teams are going to shoot better than that number today. We look at Iowa, the number one team on offense on turnovers. Michigan doesn't force turnovers. They're number 339 in turnover D. The Michigan D, a poor point defensive team against Iowa, who is an elite offensive team. I'm going to go over the total in this one. Excuse me, number of 154.
All right, going up and over, expecting points. Hunter Dickinson, 14 points, 7 assists in that first game there, Steve Merrill. They don't have a legit answer if you got a 6'8" Keegan Murray playing center most of the year. What does Iowa do? Can they stop Michigan here, you think, at home?
Yeah, Joe, you and Ralph are talking me into the over as well here. I think there's a lot of good reasons for the over. And as Ralph pointed out in that first meeting exactly 2 weeks ago, 2 Thursdays ago, the two teams shot 20 and 22% from three-point range, a combined 8 for 38. And it still went over this total with 163 total points. And by the way, it was a dead even game. They both made 27 twos. They both made 4 threes. The difference was Michigan made 5 more free throws. They got to the line 3 more times. They made 5 more. They won by 5. I think this is a legitimate revenge spot for Iowa. I do think revenge works better, though, at home, so it negates it a little bit here. But that's their only loss. They've gone a perfect 7-0 straight up on each side of that loss to Michigan 2 weeks ago. As Ralph said, it's a very important game for Michigan to get off that bubble. Teams in must-win situations, if they're good enough to win when they had to, as we all know, they wouldn't be in must-wins, right? They wouldn't be 16-12. I think there could be a little bit of a regression after that emotional Michigan State win, and I used them as a free play here in the show on Tuesday. I liked Michigan in that spot. I'm not sure the spot is as good tonight, so I lean Iowa, but I agree. I think the over 156 is the best way to play it.
All right, liking some points in this one. Dave, do you like Iowa to go on the road and get it done tonight?
I don't know. I agree with the other two guys, though. I think, look, both teams are more efficient offensively than defensively. And I've said all year, and I don't know why Michigan plays at a snail's pace sometimes, because they're athletic and they should be getting up and down the court. I got to tell you something. They might be better off with Phil Martelli on the bench rather than Juwan Howard. I think this is a high-scoring game as well. I'll favor the offenses. I don't know who's going to win it. I made Michigan 1, so guess what? There's certainly no advantage there. But I like the logic put forth by Ralph and Steve. So let's make it unanimous. Let's go with over Iowa, Michigan.
Boom. Over it is. Expecting some points in what should be a very entertaining game in that one, guys. We'll move on here to a Horizon tournament game as Oakland will be taking on Wright State here tonight, 7 o'clock Eastern time. Wright State opens up as a 4-point favorite over Oakland. That total at 147.5. So you have Wright State, who's obviously rested here. Last game against Robert Morris back in the end of February there, about a week or so ago. Oakland's pretty rested, too. They played IUPUI, Steve. So that was just a couple of days ago. So what do you think here? 2 well-rested teams? Who you give the edge to?
Yeah, this is something we'll talk a lot about. I'll let Ralph give out the numbers more on this because he's got the database, of course. But you're going to hear this a lot the next couple of weeks, guys, right? That it's so hard to beat a team 3 times, and it's one of the most overrated things in all of sports. I think we would all agree. First of all, if you're bad enough to lose twice to a team, you're most likely going to lose that 3rd time. Now, obviously, when the point spread comes into play, it's a little different. But we see a lot of these third meetings, double revenge situations here in the conference tournaments, which are about to start in all the different conferences. And that applies to Oakland. They lost both the regular season meetings, 75-64 and 78-74 in those 2 games. And one thing Oakland does not do well is shoot the 3. And, if you want to win these conference tournaments and get hot for 3 or 4 straight games, whatever it is for each different tournament, you need to have to go on a little bit of a run from 3-point range. And I just don't know if they can do that. Now, what Oakland does do very well is they hit 79% from the free throw line, okay? But I don't know if that's going to come into play here. I think there's a reason Wright State went 2-0 in the first 2 meetings, and I think they probably win a 3rd time as well.
What do you think here, Dave, in this matchup? Interesting. We've seen it before. They've seen it before. What do we get tonight, do you think?
Yeah, this just expanding on what Steve was talking about. This is the difference between sports bettors who track things and work with factual data rather than the talking heads on TV who They don't know what they're talking about. They just don't know. Because you're going to hear it a million times between now and the end of these conference tournaments about how tough it is for Team A to beat Team B 3 times in the same season. And that is bullshit. Okay, it is an absolute myth. Now, when the spread gets factored in, I guess it's probably about 50-50. There's no advantage either way. But biggest mistake you can make is knee-jerking to the team that lost both regular season meetings, thinking, well, they can't lose 3 in a row. It's probably a little closer when teams are closely matched like this, because Oakland and Wright State, there's not a lot to choose between the two teams. So you can argue there it might be a little tougher for Wright State to beat them 3 times in the same season. There's not a big difference between the teams. And I would lean to Oakland in this game on, I guess, value. I made the line 1.5. I don't think there's much to choose between these teams. So it's a lean to Oakland. It's not enough to play it, though. If the line's 4, and I've still got the favorite winning the game, even if it's not by the spread, that's not going to get me to a bet on the game. I'll lean to Wright State. I'll lean to Oakland plus the points, but not enough here for me to bet it.
All right. Not Dave, Ralph, Wright State played well towards the end there, got the bye. Now they get the home game, exactly what they were hoping for. Can they finish it here tonight?
Damn, Steve, I wish you'd give me heads up if you're going to call me out on the database to have a number. Freaking lucky I do have a number. So here we go. Dave and Steve both said it. Let's give you the actual data. In the last 20 years in college basketball, if you beat a team twice in the regular season and you faced them a third time in the conference tournaments, you have won outright 71% of the time. If you won those first 2 games and you're playing again in the conference tournament, you have covered 53.5% of the time. So that puts, as Dave said, puts the myth to bed. It is not hard to beat a team a third time. You do it 7 out of 10 times, and you do show a profit covering 53.5% of the time. With that said, these teams finished number 3 and 4 in the Horizon. What set the teams apart? Well, Oakland had many more games canceled. Wright State went 15-7 in Horizon play. Oakland only lost 7 games as well. Problem is, they only played 19 games, so they went 12-7 versus the 15-7. You look at the 2 wins Wright State had. They scored 152 points in the first game. Why was that game close? Oakland made 15 3-point shots. In that second game, Wright State went 75-64, a much lower scoring game. Why is that? In the last 9 minutes, the Wright State defense, which hasn't been great, Oakland really went on an offensive slump. In the last 9 minutes of the game, Oakland had 0 field goals and turned the ball over 7 times. Oakland played IUPUI on Thursday, an easy 11-point win. Now they're playing 2 days later. I think that helps their offensive momentum. The Wright State offense, the best in the league. I mean, these 2 teams have probably the 3 best players in the conference. Wright State has had a first and second team all-conference player for the last 5 years. They've been one of the elite teams in the Horizon, but they have Holden and Basil, first team all-Horizon teams. Plus they have A.J. Braun, a freshman All-American. And on Oakland, maybe the best player in the league, Kane. There's only 2 players in college basketball who have averaged 20 points per game and 10 rebounds per game. That is Kane from Oakland and Kofi Cockburn from Illinois. It puts him in elite company. 2 elite teams. I think offense leads me to a slight lean on the over in this game.
All right. Good stuff there, guys. We do have one more game. That's going to be out west, the Mountain West, I believe here we're going to take a look at as Fresno State taking on San Diego State. San Diego State opened up 8.5. The total, predictably low, 115.5 as an open here, and San Diego State, they rattled off 7 of 8 here. And they did get one of those top 4 spots here, Dave. Fresno can't. So what do we get tonight from these two teams?
Well, forget what San Diego State did the other night. You get an easy Aztecs win. I mean, San Diego State had a night where they were hitting everything. You know they're very good defensively. Their offense is very questionable. I can't count on San Diego State to duplicate what they did against Wyoming. And, in fact, I think they're probably a candidate to bounce offensively because they're playing a much better defensive team here in Fresno State. Fresno has the big guy on the inside, and they don't have much else on offense. This is a bad offensive team, but they are very good defensively. I made San Diego State a pretty good-sized favorite here, but I really don't want to lay that many points. In a game, excuse me, in a game that figures to be defensively oriented, I know it's a low total, but to me, this is one of those, 55-50 type games. I think San Diego State will win, but if I had to bet the game, I'd take the under. But interestingly enough, from a side standpoint, if I had to bet the game, I'd take San Diego State. Fortunately, I don't have to do either, and I'm going to pass the game completely. But my leans would be Aztecs and under.
Leaning towards the under. 44 points the first go around here, Ralph. So what do we get different here in this one, do you think?
Well, Fresno goes as Orlando Robinson goes, someone who's going to be playing in the NBA. First meeting, San Diego State held Robinson to more turnovers than field goals made. So if you shut him down, you're going to shut Fresno down. You look at the Bulldogs. The last time the Bulldogs beat a team with a winning record, January 18th. 7 weeks have gone by since Fresno State has beat a winning team. You look at San Diego State, and yes, their defense is elite. Ken Palm has them the #1 defensive efficiency team in the country. I went to the database, guys, and we talk about this much more in football than we do in basketball. But what happens when a team is laying over 7.5 and we have a total under 119? We have a decent-sized favorite with, with a very low total. So I went back to 2018 in the college basketball database. When we have a favorite of 7.5 or more and a total of under 118, that team has gone 29-4 straight up, but they have only covered 39.4% of the time, and the over-under has only hit 45% of the time. So it does make logical sense. If you have a team like Fresno getting over a touchdown with a low total and a very good defensive team, number 24 in Ken Palm, that would lean to Fresno. But I can't get to Fresno on this side. As I said, they haven't performed well against upper-tier totals. I will lean with the under in this one again. Two of the slowest-paced teams, two elite offenses that are much better than defenses. So I will go under, and I will make a little tweak to this. While we do have to give up a few points of value, I will go under in the first half. As Fresno State, this is an important game to them. They sit at the number 6 seed. Remember, the top 5 seeds in the Mountain West only have to win 3 straight games. You're a seed 6 or higher. You have to win 4 straight games. No team has ever won the Mountain West Conference in their current format, having to win those 4 straight games. Lean under first half.
Yeah, Ralph mentioned Orlando Robinson for Fresno State. Well, they got a pretty good kid at San Diego State, too, Matt Bradley, who, if I'm not mistaken, Steve's already committed to come back again next year. Had a terrible first game a couple of weeks ago against Fresno State. Should be a very interesting matching, watching those two go at it. Who do you think gets the best of it in this?
Yeah, Bradley had 2 points in 33 minutes a couple of weeks ago, Joe. 3 steals, though. More steals than points. I don't know what to make of that. But, yeah, he was 1 for 8 shooting. So, and the game still totaled, 105 points. So there again, figure he plays to like a normal average that's going to get over 116, right? Well, one thing that jumps out to me that first meeting, San Diego State went 9 for 20, 45% from three-point range. I don't think that probably happens again tonight. So, and the game still stayed under this total by 11 points. Ralph brought this up on Wager Talk today earlier. He had an over on an Added game or a Big Sky game, and he said it was one of the highest totals. Portland State over 155.5. I think, Ralph's what you mentioned. He said they're big for a reason, they're low for a reason. The odds makers don't necessarily set true numbers on these games because, as you pointed out, Ralph, they want to get balanced action. So, in general, in theory, there's actually value going under these really low totals. So the under 116 is the only way I would play this. These are Fresno, one of the slowest teams. In fact, out of 358 teams, only 2 teams in the country play slower pace. And then, as Ralph pointed out, San Diego State is the most efficient defense. So I like the under in this game. I know it's a low total. A lot of things have to go right. You worry about some free throws down the stretch. Well, San Diego State, not a good free throw shooting team. In fact, I gave out a free play here on Wyoming +2 on Monday on the show, and they lost by 7. But San Diego State really shot lights out in that game. They shot extremely high from the free throw line. I think they made their last 6 or 7 down the stretch, and they were 13 for 17. I don't look for that repeating here tonight. They also were 12 for 22 from 3 on Monday against Wyoming, 55%. Look, they shoot like that again, it's going over, they're going to cover, right? But I don't think that happens. I lean under, and I lean the big dog Fresno in what should be a low-scoring game.
All right. Not expecting a ton of points. Should be a good one out in the Mountain West, and plenty of good games. Some of those mid-major conferences, guys, plenty still to be determined in a number of the bigger conferences. So is there a game these guys circled like a little bit more than the rest? So, Ralph, kick us off here, my man. Where are you going here tonight?
Game number 306, 195. I need to get to the mid-200s. I'm going there. I'm going Lipscomb. I gave it out to my clients at plus 11.5. Yes, this is an actual all-access client release, a 3% play at Wager Talk. That is down to plus 11 or plus 10.5. I still do like it at that. Listen, Liberty is the class of the A-Sun. They've been that for multiple years. They know they win the tournament. They know they get to the conference. Well, you look at Liberty, who's had much better teams the last 3 years. What happens in the first 2 rounds? They just do enough to win. In those 6 first 2-round games the last 3 years with a better team, they've only averaged win by 9 points per game. The biggest margin they had in those 3 years was by 14 points per game. You look at Liberty's current form, they're only 1-7 against the spread their last 8 games. They're a slower paced team. They already beat Lipscomb by 9-16. They know they have a big game Saturday on deck against teams that are much closer to them. If they get a second half lead, I think they rest some starters. Lipscomb will have some pace in the second half. They're a team that does continue to play well and has some offensive prowess. I like Lipscomb. I think Liberty wins the game, but they keep it close.
Ralph's feeling better when he goes to the extra card, Steve Merrill. You know it. When he gets to the extra games, we're good. Talk to us here, Merrill. Which one of these games did you circle for us?
Yeah, quick reminder, both Dave and Ralph were on Wager Talk today with me earlier this afternoon. You can watch that 24/7 archived here on Wager Talk TV, and I'll be guest hosting again tomorrow on Friday, noon Eastern live with Teddy Covers Wager Talk today here on Wager Talk TV. I've got a strong NBA best bet tonight for my clients. That's the top play on the board. Nobody over the last 10 months has won more money in the NBA. Number one at wagertalk.com, 74 units of profit. And I've got your big late night national TV best bet between the Lakers and Clippers on TNT for Thursday night. Got to look at a free college basketball play for the show here. Going to go over the total between Michigan and Iowa. That's your national TV game on Fox Sports 1 at 9 p.m. Eastern tonight on Thursday. And this is a rematch from exactly 2 weeks ago. And I look for it to play out kind of like it did exactly 2 weeks ago. And that's a high-scoring game. Michigan won that one 84-79, 163 points scored. Yet the team shot just 8 for 38, 20 and 22% from three-point range. And it still went over this posted total of 155.5 tonight. That's because they both dominated down low. Something else to point out, Juwan Howard is still out since fight night against Wisconsin 4 games back. But Phil Martelli, veteran head coach, has taken over. And Michigan has played above their season-long average tempo in each of those last 3 games with Martelli on the bench. And this game against Iowa a few weeks ago with Juwan Howard was actually their fastest-paced game, their second fastest-paced game of the season of all games that Michigan has played. So I do think Iowa, which likes to play fast and push the tempo, will be able to do so on the road tonight. And both teams have a high-scoring game. Both offenses hold the matchup edges as well. Tempo, offensive edges, over 155.5. Michigan, Iowa at 9 p.m. Eastern Thursday night on Fox Sports 1. And don't forget, my strongest play comes in the NBA tonight. Your TNT late-night game, Lakers-Clippers, 10 p.m. Eastern. I've won 74 units the past 10 months at WagerTalk.com in the NBA alone. Get a strong best bet tonight. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com.
All right, good stuff there, Merrill. And Dave, a loaded card for you tonight, NHL as well as college hoops over at your page at WagerTalk.com. Which game you got for us here on the show?
I want to note that Ralph is fading one of our great Patriots tonight because I believe Nathan Hale said, "Give me liberty or give me death," and he has decided to go against liberty and take Lipscomb. So,
yeah. Ooh, good point. Wow.
Yeah, that was kind of stupid. But, I can be a real idiot sometimes. Anyway, one of the games I took tonight, I'm not even going to say why because it's just it's extraneous bullshit. Nobody wants to hear about it anyway. They just want the pick. I took Rice plus the points against UTEP. I think it's a close game. I think Rice has a good chance to win the game outright. So the Rice Owls, it is a play for me. It's a 3% play, so it's not just, an extra game. I'll take Rice for the best bet here on the show. Give me Rice and give me Dad.
Yeah, give you Rice, give you Dad. Love that play there against the UTEP here, plus the points. And our friends from the Gold Sheet, they got a game they circled as well, and it looks like it's going to involve the UCF and Tulane. They're expecting not a ton of points here as the under is their play of the day. Great write-up here, guys, and information. If you're looking for info on this game, we will post it on our Twitter page at Wager Talk like we do all the Gold Sheet plays of the day. But you saw the promo there before the show started. Opportunities, guys, to get on with goldsheet.com. Visit them right now for March Madness. Great write-ups, great handicapping tools, great data, all available at goldsheet.com. All right, I'm going to go and in honor of our producer here, Robert, I'm going to go to Houston, and I'm going to take the under in the Temple-Houston game, 131, 131.5. You got two teams. You got one team in Temple that's just as ferocious as Houston is on defense, not very good efficiently on offense. I don't think we get to 131.5. We certainly didn't the first time that these two met in a really close game. So I'll back the under for the second time around here with Houston and Temple. And one more time, guys, to recap what we got going on. Ralph, give me Liberty and give me Lipscomb here at plus 10.5 against, Liberty there. Ralph's going to the extra card. Steve Merrill, he likes points tonight at Iowa, Michigan, over 155.5. Dave, he likes Rice, plus 6.5, taking on UTEP tonight. And I'm going to back the under in that Temple-Houston matchup. And our friends from the Gold Sheet, they too are going to look at the under with UCF and Tulane. And like these guys said, they are locked and loaded, ready to go here. Now would be a great opportunity to hop on board March Madness 177, get the rest of right through the rest of this week, regular season plus all of March Madness, guys, right through the national championship. Opportunity for all three of these gentlemen. Visit Ralph, visit Steve Merrill, visit Dave Koken right now at WagerTalk.com. And if you hit that bell in the upper right-hand corner, much more to get to before the weekend. We'll be back again tomorrow for another college basketball tip-off show. Until then, on behalf of Ralph Michael, Steve Merrill, and Dave Koken, guys, give us Liberty or give us whatever your best bets are tonight. Good luck with them. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Good luck. There you go, Steve. Nice. There you go.
Between now and Selection Sunday on March 13th, there are still tons of regular season college basketball action to go. Plus, all of the conference tournaments and Wager Talk and Sports Memo are announcing their March Madness Bonanza special, which includes the rest of college basketball regular season, conference tournaments, NCAA tournament through the national championship, and any plays released in the NIT or CBI tournaments. Sign up for this promotion now at your favorite handicappers homepage and get the rest of the college basketball season through the national championship on Monday, April 4th for just $177. That's under $5 a day for one of the best betting experience in sports. Act fast, as the March Madness Bonanza special is only available for a limited time.